Should Justin Simmons bring his talents to Las Vegas? The Raiders have a slim chance at the playoffs, and Maxx Crosby opens up about Jon Gruden's departure. Yo, what is up, Raidernation? It's your boy Simone Raider, back at it again with yet another video. If this is the very first time you guys are coming across this channel and you love Raiders content, then hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon button to notify you guys when I upload more videos just like this. With that being said, first things first, I want to talk about Justin Simmons possibly coming to the Las Vegas Raiders, or at least being linked to the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, we know that the Raiders can use as much help as we can in the secondary. I think it's one of our weakest position groups on the team. Not saying that they're really bad, but we can always use an upgrade somewhere, right? But with that being said, though, CBS Sports named the top potential landing spots for free agent safety Justin Simmons, with the Las Vegas Raiders being one of them, saying linked to big name cover men like Jaire Alexander and Jalen Ramsey, thanks to their lack of proven options at cornerback. The Raiders could just as easily use a savvy starter on the back end under defensively minded head coach Pete Carroll. Besides possessing plenty of 2025 salary cap space to add help, the Raiders also employ pass game coordinator Joe Woods, who served as Simmons' first defensive back coach in Denver. Now, adding on to that, it seems as if the Raiders right now are going towards Jeremy Chin and Isaiah Pola-Mao as the starting safeties on the team right now. But there is no secret that the Raiders could use a little bit more help, and it wouldn't hurt adding a guy like Justin Simmons to the team. Now, Simmons, I'm going to be honest with you, may not play as physical as he once was, but he still knows how to position himself on the field for the most optimal chance at getting an interception. Now, signing Simmons would be beneficial for the Raiders secondary, but it'll also bring him back to the AFC West and give him a chance to win over his old team. The Raiders have plenty of cap space remaining, and I don't see why they wouldn't want a player like Simmons in their backfield. Now, the big question would be for me is, should the Raiders actually consider signing Justin Simmons and bringing him over here to Las Vegas? And my simple answer would be yes, but for the right price, though. Simmons does bring that elite experience, leadership, and ball skills with 32 career interceptions, and he would add depth to the secondary alongside of Jeremy Chin and Isaiah Pola-Mao. But he's 30 plus years old, and coming off of a down year, who knows if he's going to be asking for some starter money. But I believe for the right price, if he was to come over here on a team-friendly deal, I'm all for it. Bring him over here to the silver and black. I don't think it would hurt to have him play alongside of the safeties that we do have on the team. Outside of that, though, the only players that I'm willing to spend big, especially in the secondary right now, would be Jaire Alexander and Jalen Ramsey. But if we're not able to get those guys, then I wouldn't mind adding Justin Simmons if he was to come over here, like I said, for the right price. But what do you guys think, Raider Nation? Would you guys be open and down to bringing Justin Simmons over here to Las Vegas, or are you guys passing on that? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, in some other news, though, I want to talk about the Raiders' chances at the playoffs. Now, I know how optimistic I am about this team going into the season. I feel like after how bad we were last season, the only way to go is up. And I do believe that this team will improve a lot more than they did last year. Now, I'm not saying that the Raiders are going to go out there and win the AFC West. I'm not saying that the Raiders are going to go and be Super Bowl contenders right off the bat, but one thing's for sure, they're going to go out there and compete, and we could possibly squeak into the playoffs. But according to ESPN, they had a recent poll, and they had the Raiders projected at a 23.9% chance at making the playoffs. Now, that's not really big numbers, but hey, we at least got a chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah! Now, this is what they had to say about the Raiders' chances at the playoffs. Look, the Bills and Ravens have had a horrible time trying to get past Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs over the past couple of seasons. You expect the Raiders to get past him in a regular season? The idea of the Raiders finishing first seems even less likely, even when you consider the Broncos and Chargers were both playoff teams a year ago. Los Angeles or Denver have a much better chance of leading the AFC West if Kansas City fell off due to injuries or other reasons. However, the idea of Las Vegas as a playoff contender is not necessarily ridiculous, particularly thanks to the addition of veteran quarterback Geno Smith. Although Las Vegas ranks 6th here in the overall division odds, it is 4th in playoff odds out of all 8 teams. Now, I know what you guys might be thinking. I know that there's going to be fans out there complaining about this. But for me, I look at it like this. Until the Raiders can actually do something, we can't complain about this. I mean, we always have high hopes for the Raiders, and like I said, I have a little bit of hope for the Raiders going forward. But like I said, we can't complain about this knowing that the Raiders haven't really done anything in the past couple of years, and every new regime that we do have, we always have high hopes. At least I have high hopes, just for all of that to get shot down right when the season starts. But I'm not going to say that the vibes right now doesn't seem a little bit different, that the culture around the organization doesn't feel different. I mean, we've heard Maxx Crosby, all these other players talk about how great the culture has been, all the energy around training training camp OTAs have been with Pete Carroll. So with that said, like I said earlier, I don't expect the Raiders to win the AFC West, but I do believe that the Raiders could compete for a wild card berth. But to address something that they said in their article, I don't think that the Broncos or the Chargers are better than the Raiders going into this season. I feel like the Raiders are going to be better than them. I'm only worried about the Chiefs. Outside of that, these other two jabronis can kick rocks. But with all that being said, I do like the Raiders being underdogs going into the season. I feel like the Raiders play better when they're the underdogs, when nobody expects anything out of them. That's when they go out and surprise everybody and shock the world. It's just crazy when they actually put all the expectation on us. We always seem to kind of fly under the radar and not live up to expectations. That's just my feelings, and that's how I feel about this team moving forward. So I would say that this is a fair analysis on the Raiders going into the season. Now, the last thing I want to talk about right now is Maxx Crosby. He was recently on the Glory Days podcast with Johnny Manziel, and he brought up a couple of interesting things that I thought I'd bring up on this video. And one of the main things that I wanted to talk about and even highlight is the fact that he talked about Jon Gruden when he resigned from the team. Of course, we know back in 2021 when the Raiders were on an all-time high. I mean, we started off the season really hot, and we were looking like one of the best teams in the NFL. Just for some news and some old emails from 2010 to 2018 to come out of Jon Gruden, which was uncovered during an NFL investigation, which wasn't on the Raiders, which contained some racist and homophobic remarks, which isn't okay. I totally understand that. That all led to him stepping down as the Raiders head coach. And I do remember it being a really tough time, not just for the players, for the fans as well. It just seemed like the life just got sucked out of the building, out of Las Vegas, out of the Raiders organization. And I know it was even more tougher on Jon Gruden because he loved the game of football and he felt like he was doing something finally with the team just to step down so abruptly. But Maxx Crosby talked about this, and he was actually there at Jon Gruden's house, and he talked about the experience there and Jon Gruden in general.
I went to Gruden's house right after it happened. Me and Rachel went to his house. You know, he resigned, and he's got this fucking beautiful fucking house. He's just sitting in the corner like the Godfather, and you just see it, like he couldn't even like look me in the eyes, bro. He was fucked up and just like tearing up, bro. And I'm sitting there with Rachel, like me and her were both fucked up. We were all tore up, and he would just like apologize. I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm like, Coach, stop fucking apologizing. I love you to death. Like, you're the one that gave me a shot when nobody else did, and like, the guys still, after all this shit, like, we still loved him. So it was tough to see a guy like that who's such a good dude and such a fucking loyal, like, ride or die person. Like, they went after him. They went after him. And he knew it. He said it there, like, and he's like, I'll be back. To this day, he's like that. I'll be back.
Now, I remember talking about this at the time, and of course, everything that he said wasn't right. And I totally understand that. But one thing I could say about everybody is that nobody is perfect. Nobody at all. I mean, I'm not even perfect, and I'm pretty sure I've been in chats, Call of Duty lobbies back in the days when Call of Duty Black Ops first came out, and I've heard a lot of crazy things there, and I'm sure you can still hear a lot of crazy things now. And I know there's group chats out there being a lot extra, and I know if those got exposed, everybody would be canceled right now. But just for it to happen to Jon Gruden, it just really seemed like he was targeted out of everybody. And he was a guy that, whether you liked him or not, he loved this organization and he loved the game of football a lot. And he loved his players even more. And a lot of them will tell you that they didn't feel none of that from Jon Gruden. But it is what it is. Now we move on a couple of years later now to the third different coach that we had since then, to Pete Carroll. And we've heard nothing but a lot of great things about Pete Carroll. We've seen it all over, and everybody's been talking about it. But Maxx Crosby also addressed this on the podcast as well, praising Pete Carroll and his energy and what he brings to the Raiders organization.
Like, just the energy Pete brings, it's real. You know, you hear about it and you see it on TV and him throwing the ball around. He's got his fucking gloves on and his big ass Air Monarchs, and he's tossing the ball. But that's him every day. And you know, every day I go up and watch film with my D-line coach, and just at the most random points, he'll just come fucking walk in the room and be like, hey, by the way, boom, drop something. He'd be like, you like this? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And then he just dips out, and then he's just all gas all the time. And like, you love that. Like, you know how it is, like as a kid, like you have those football coaches that you're like, you're excited to like hear what he's got to say in the meeting because you don't know what the fuck's about to happen. And that's just how he is. It's like constant competition. Practice is fun. Like, we get to it. Like, don't get it mistaken. Like, we get after it, but at the same time, he makes it an environment that's fun to be in all the time. And then you're looking forward to getting in the building every day.
Now, with all of that being said, Raider Nation, man, I hope you guys are having a blessed day, man. I know that the Raiders are taking a break, but that doesn't mean that we have to take a break on the channel. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps this channel a lot, and it only takes a little bit of your time. If you guys haven't subscribed already and you love Raiders content, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon button. If you if you haven't already. Until the next video, this your boy Simone Raider and your boys. Yeah.